Hi everyone, this is daveac and this is my vblog 204 for Friday the 15th of June 2012. Space, apples old and new, all washed down with wine. Yes, wine at the end, all in under 15 minutes. And I have to apologise for the very end of last week. I finished it on 14 minutes 59 seconds. Of course, if I'd gone over the 15 minutes, it wouldn't have appeared on YouTube. And if you're watching me this video on YouTube, you think, well, he doesn't have many downloads, there's only half a dozen here. That is not the main site. The main site that this daveac vblog is on is blip.tv. It's also on worldtv.com. And of course, it's on iTunes. So lots of other places. We're coming up to about 37,000 downloads now. So thank you to those people who have downloaded it. Lots of things to talk about, and a couple of toasts at the end, although I'll manage that with just one wine this week. No DVDs and things to show you, but you never know. After this coming Sunday, may have another DVD to talk about, and of course I am going to go back to the Dark Shadows again, but I've got to work my way through a bit more of it, but I am enjoying it. Well, lots of things been happening. Podcasts. We've done a couple of more recordings with Lewis. When I say we, I mean myself and Ian, the Sixth Doctor from the Culton Collective. Hopefully Lewis is doing all the editing on that, poor guy, and those will be out at podshop.net. I think the most recent one that's out is episode 271, but he's got at least 2 more in the bag. The Culton Collective, well, we had a bit of a swap around this Sunday that's just gone. The topic that we were going to do was about what sort of sci-fi did you watch when you were growing up. That is going to be our topic this coming Sunday. That's the 17th of June. It was a sad event that meant that we ended up doing one of our occasional From the Mind Of series, and of course it was about Ray Bradbury, who had just died recently, aged 91, same age as the Prince of Philip here in the UK, but sadly he died, and so we were remembering both the writer and more particularly his major works and contributions to, although he didn't consider himself really to be a science fiction writer, to science fiction, and apparently he was called the poet of science fiction. And there were some really moving comments on that podcast we did. Rick Wall and Ken in particular were really fond of this author and his work, and it shows in their feelings on the podcast. So please give that a listen. Of course, it's on TalkShoe ID 54821, but put that in Google. I'm sure you'll find us, and of course do a search on iTunes. It's the Culton Collective podcast, which is also now available on the BlackBerry phone on the RIM network. I think you need an app for your BlackBerry phone, but you can listen to them. Just watch out your data limit, by the way, because one podcast can be 30, 40, 50 megabytes, depending on the length of it. Well, yes, podcasts, so those two. By the way, for those of you who like our commentaries, we are getting back to doing some commentaries. Of course, we've just taken some time out doing a couple of interviews. You remember Ian, with me helping a little bit, did the John Peddle interview, and I, with Mike helping, did the editors of the Mythological Dimensions of Neil Gaiman interview. That's up on the feed, so we have been rather busy. Well, things are really happening at the moment. The only thing wrong with the summer at the moment is the weather. Don't be fooled by the fact I'm in shirt sleeves. As soon as I finish this, I'm going to put my jumper back on. Yeah, that's great. In fact, the degrees on my wine is higher than the room temperature. The wine I'm going to be drinking later is 14.5% alcohol. I don't think it's 14.5 degrees centigrade in this room. It's just about bearable. with a jumper on. Okay, well, what else has been happening? Tons of things happening. Lots of interesting things. People, by the way, if you go onto the Cooked and Collective Facebook page, awful lot of posts we're getting about science, would you believe? That's the great influence of Perry G on our thing. There was all that about the Pegasus XL and New Star X-ray telescope going up into space. Went right over Hawaii. I told people to wave to Darth Skeptical. There's also been a near-Earth asteroid that was, you could read about that and watch online on Ustream about this this comet passing near to the Earth. What else? Oh yes, the other thing that Perry G's posted about is Voyager 1. It really is now at the very outer bounds of our solar system, and it's getting readings, higher readings of material that's hitting it, because that envelope that surrounds our solar system, it's moving out of that into real interstellar space. So far away now that apparently messages coming back for it, apart from being very weak, they're taking about 14 and a half hours to reach back to Earth. And it's travelling at something like 36,000 miles, no, was it kilometres a second, but extremely fast. And of course it's heading towards the centre of the Milky Way. Don't know how long it'll take to get there, but it's the first man-made object that will have ever left our solar system. Brilliant. And of course sport. Well, I was watching the French tennis at Roland Garros. Really exciting climax to that, particularly in the men's final. Although it was nice to see some of people like Sharapova, who hasn't been at her best for a few years after a shoulder operation, was doing well. Won't give any results. Now, of course, we're back on tennis, on grass. The Queen's Club tennis for men is taking place, and of course, we're going in for a really bumper thing with tennis later, because of course we've got Wimbledon coming up, and then with the UK hosting the Olympics, the actual tennis aspect of that is going to be at Wimbledon. So fantastic. And there's more. Yes, the US Open golf is on. In fact, I've got the feeds on again. I suppose I daren't tell you who's in the lead, but unfortunately in this country, unless you've got a pay TV channel, you can't watch it. I've got live reporting on the BBC Sport website, and by live reporting we're talking about an updated text. Let's have a look. What's this? Jim Furyk, the 2003 champion, after shooting 69 and to end 1 under. I am obviously happy. Feel great about the 69. Luke Donald, after rounds of 72 to end 11 over. Oh dear me. And I believe that Tiger Woods is doing extremely well at the moment. So awful lot of sport. The Euro football is on at the moment. One of the matches was delayed for a tremendous thunderstorm that they had to. The pitch was almost swamped. England have just finished their match against Sweden. That was a real good match, high scoring match. I won't give the result out, although probably by the time you listen to this you'll know. But yeah, I even watched a bit of England. Lots of things happening. Let me look at my notes, watching the time. Well, Apple's old and new. 2 pieces of news from Apple. Well, of course, there was the E3 Expo, but Apple do their own thing separately. And of course, they were now announcing upgrades to their laptop range of computers, going for this much new, thinner model. And of course, they've moved up to the Sandy Bridge processors, and they've moved up to a faster, discrete graphics card in them. And of course, the top end one that's coming out, the PowerBook, is going to have the retinal display. And I believe all the prices are about $100 down on what they were. Of course, iOS 6 is out. And of course, the new desktop operating system, Mountain Lion, is coming out. One just note from me though, the new iOS 6 will not work on the original iPad, which I've got, so I won't be getting the upgrade for that. And the functionality will only really be fully on the newest of the iPads, and I believe on the phones, the full functionality of iOS 6 will only be if you've got an Apple iPhone 4S. So, and the other thing was, old Apples as well. Yes, there's just been an auction of an Apple One board, a working Apple One board, has smashed a fantastic price at an auction. Let me see if I can see what the price is. It sold for $347,000 at auction. That's a very early Apple motherboard that's still in working condition. So, of course, it's an absolute collector's edition. What else? Oh, well, there's lots of news here in the UK. BT and TalkTalk have announced that the new UView boxes, talked about these about 30 or 40 episodes ago, about there's a new standard of on-demand coming to the UK. We have Freeview and FreeSat, but the UView is going to be sort of a combined thing that will take over-the-air stuff, and it will take stuff via the internet, and it will present you with a lot of bouquets of channel. And of course, BT are going to do that, provide it as part of their broadband, I assume at an extra cost, and the same with TalkTalk. They're going to have it. Of course, BT have just made big news because they've just bought the rights to the football from 2017 onwards. So there's an awful, or is it 2015 onwards? But the whole point is there's a real repositioning going on between those people getting entertainment to people's houses. What else? Oh yes, just very happy how well the Raspberry Pi, the little $35 very small computer, really selling well. I've got mine on order and my son has too, and I'm really excited because it looks as though they will be able to run RISC OS operating system on it by the time mine's out, and I love the RISC OS operating system. I prefer it to Linux, and that is really going to be great. I think they were having trouble getting the USB working and one or two other little things, because of course RISC OS is 5 or 6 years not underdeveloped, shall we say. So lots of stuff. Look at the time, David. How you can witter on. Well, we've got the wine. Let's go to the wine, because I've got 2 little toasts to make. Here's the wine. There it is. First Cape Discovery Series Shiraz 2009 Australia. Let's see if that will focus in for us. Freeze frame. Look at that. Written the price on the top there, $5.95. It's 14.5% as well. It's been poured out for over an hour. There it is, back to my big red glass. And we're getting lots of fruit on this one. We're actually getting more of a... Yeah, there's a fruit component, and then there's that sort of forest floor component, but it's quite also like a red berry fruit. Let's have a taste. Oh, got a spicy edge to that. A little bit of pepper in it as well with the Shiraz. That is rather a little bit sweet actually. Let me just have another taste. Of course, there's not a lot of tannins in it. That's probably why. And I'm getting a little bit of vanilla coming through. A little bit of spice, a little bit of vanilla. Let's see what it said on the back of the label. Wine selected for our discoveries, sourced from specifically chosen vineyards. Each wine is handcrafted. Classic fruity Shiraz from southeastern Australia shows spicy red currant aromas on the nose, lingering dark berry and cinnamon notes on the palate. Makes perfect partner to Indian foods, red meat dishes and strong cheeses. Oh, And my time's out. Toast, happy birthday, Ros, for this last week, and happy birthday, our Father's Day, to those people who are fathers. Bye-bye.